Hey everybody, it's me, Steve, right there. That's me as me. Starting off this tribute zone video. This was, God, 2015, second year of the channel, and this was the very first year I was doing tribute zone. And I thought it would be a good idea to make a proper Pony Fanboy review video, and we all know how that went. Oh god, the very first attempt at a Pony Fanboy reviews intro. You might notice earlier there was the Channel Zero Productions thing. That's mostly an in-joke because friends with plenty of people at Channel Zero, and I just did that as kind of a little like shout out to them. Yeah, God, it's funny to see how far this has gone. Oh, good, Comic Sans, great, of course. And then this title card, which was done by Emmy Bombers on DeviantArt, a friend of mine, and I think she did a really good job. I think that's one of the best looking Pony Fanboy thumbnails or title cards I've ever seen for any of these videos over the years. I mean, I think I gradually got better at it, but seriously, I think that's probably one of the best looking ones. So, yeah, I think we need to do some proper setup for why this video exists. So, Pony Fanboy was a character that I've done a couple of times before this. He popped up in a couple of other videos. Very first time I did this character was for a fan music video of Brony Style by Rucka Rucka Ali. And that's essentially where the voice came from. If you've ever heard that song, Pony Fanboy's voice is essentially all over that. The being a brony doesn't really get you tons of chicks. Actually listen to the song, you can definitely hear the inspiration. I said this before in my character origins video, but I was spitballing a bunch of ideas with my fellow content creators like Critical Kid, Nostalgia Kid, and on Skype we were just pitching ideas. And they threw out the idea, hey, you should have a brony character, after we heard that song and thought it was funny, and we recited the lyrics, just laughing at them. And they were like, yeah, you should do a character who's like a brony stereotype. He's kind of like a nerdy kid kind of character. And so ever since then, I did him a couple of times for like other videos. I think I did one for Chris, and I did one for a Swigga video. But I never did a video where he was the main character, so this was the first attempt at trying to do like a video where he's the main focus. And obviously ever since then that spawned Pony Fanboy Reads, and then the Pony Fanboy Reviews, and obviously the Planet Goofball and Megacorp videos. Again, it's really weird to see how far the character has gone from this, because this was 2015. It was a totally different ballpark. Oh god, Trollney. Almost forgot about this character. So, Trollney, if it isn't obvious, I mean, this character I used him a lot more in the early days of the channel, and then eventually I think we actually killed him off. After a while, I just wanted to stop doing the character, and like sort of all the early channel storyline stuff, eventually I wanted to wrap that up. There's a whole video on the main channel that covers this, but yeah, Trollney was a reoccurring character I did for a while, and he was supposed to be sort of the anti-Pony Fanboy, I guess. I think one of the biggest inspirations was obviously, like, a lot of reviewers had to have an obligatory character who was clearly based on, like, characters from a popular reviewer, and this is clearly meant to be a spoof on, like, Douchey McNitpick. Like, yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. And, oh hey, look, MC Swigga. And I think the only reason that I used him there was just because it's like, trying to play off that whole reviewer trope of, having multiple characters interact with one another, which I guess to this day we still kind of do. But, yeah, so I wanted to do a first attempt at a Pony Fanboy review video, and I think the reason I went with this was because I wanted to do something fanfiction related. I didn't want to do Cupcakes, because I already reviewed Cupcakes for a MediaWiz video, and I wanted this video to be formatted differently from that. So instead of like taking the written story and like summarizing some things and then reading out other things, and then cut back, do the audio and then like the on-screen stuff and jump back and forth, kind of like on MediaWiz. This was more like take a popular video and then cut back and forth. A lot of different reviewers at that time that I was watching had this kind of format. Like, the one that comes to mind is definitely like Cute Fuzzy Weasel, who had Feeding the Trolls, where it's like, let the video play out, then cut back to response. Cut back to video, cut back to response. Back and forth, back and forth. So it was kind of, I think that was one of the biggest inspirations. And I just wanted it to be different enough from Media Wiz, because that has the more like kind of structured back and forth of on-screen voiceover summary, on-screen voiceover summary. This is more like let the video play out, cut back to what Pony Fanboy's saying, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah. It pretty much sums up the style. I guess another reason why I wanted to do a creepypasta was because I thought it would be something different, and I like the fact that this creepypasta, while I really don't know how to feel about it all these years later, I feel like it was kind of an interesting idea to tackle a sad story, because it would be something that would obviously make Pony Fanboy sad. And, you know, I never really thought about what Pony Fanboy would think of the main creepypastas of MLP. Like, you look at something like Cupcakes. I think, if I were to guess, oh god, all that MLP merch in the background I eventually got rid of. Like a couple like months or maybe a year after this video, I eventually got rid of a lot of that stuff. Oh, that's the other thing. With all the stuff in the background, like, I wanted it to look like, you know, oh, this is Pony Fanboy reviews. Oh, real quick. That French, I had to actually look up what that French was to go along with, you know, like, as a response to what they just said. So I thought it would be funny if Pony Fanboy knew French, so I actually had to look up what the response would be in French, and then I ran back to record the on-screen stuff, because I actually didn't have the script printed out or anything, and I didn't have my computer next to me, so I had to run back and forth to record the lines. And granted, it was like just one room over, so it wasn't that bad, but yeah, I had to memorize that and then go back, and I think it took like 2 takes, but I eventually got it. God, yeah, video production back then was even more rinky-dink than now. But yeah, going back to, I guess, my thoughts on this creepypasta in particular, I never really knew how to feel about with pastas like this. Like, it's not like the Lost Episode pastas or the .exe pastas where it's like, oh, I came across this lost episode or this hacked version of this popular game, and the characters stared at the camera with bloodshot eyes and blood leaking out of their mouths as they did creepy smiles and yada yada. It's not really like that. It's more like I guess a recent example of one that I did a video on was the MLATR creepypastas. There was the one called Jenny's Depression, and there was something like that. Yeah, I think stories like that, like, they are creepy. I give them that. Like, in the case of that one, and also this one, like, they're not badly written. It's just the whole, I don't know, the whole saying that it's real life and, oh yes, this is actually how it happens. You know, I don't know. It's that whole thing kind of, I don't know. Like, I think it can work. It's just that it's, I've noticed a bunch of stories do that. Like this in particular, it's like, oh, this person came from an abusive household. This person, you know, was a perfectionist, and, you know, it drove them, it brought them to their breaking point, and this person died in an accident. It's, I don't know. It feels a little bit, I don't really know the proper words to describe it. It feels a little needlessly harsh.
No wonder Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy were months before the main thing.
Like, oh yeah. This is a trope that I guess carried over into the main Pony Fanboy reviews. That Pony Fanboy always finds a way to reference other episodes and point out the continuity, as Silverquill would say. But yeah, this whole trope of like, oh, well, this is based on a real thing. Like that Teenage Robot creepypasta did the same thing, where it's like at the end they said that Rob Renzetti had a daughter who died, and that's what the character of Jenny was inspired by as a way to tribute his dead daughter. Like, none of that is true. And granted, you know, it is a creepypasta. Obviously, you're supposed to take it with a grain of salt. And I think that's one of the many reasons people eventually kind of sizzled out on creepypasta, is because people, you know, back then, people thought creepypastas were real, you know, it was like it actually genuinely made people believe that they were true. But after a while, people started to realize these are just, you know, dumb little fun stories that people write because they want to try and scare you. It's basically just, you know, internet horror stories, internet horror fiction. Um, it is kind of interesting seeing the interjected clips in this video because it feels like it does feel kind of like the new Pony Fanboy videos, but you know, obviously the editing was nowhere as tight. Uh, yeah, all the constant jumping back and forth, you know, bouncing off characters, which we still technically do after all these years. That's still a thing that has never died on this channel. Having people interact with one another, keep looking off to one side of the screen, and characters are talking to one another clearly. Um,
But how can you resist this?
uh, uh, there. Well, um, one thing I really wanted to talk about was the episode title, which is Pony Fanboy Reviews Episode 54, and then the truth behind My Little Pony. The reason for that, it's a really simple and very dumb joke that this is supposed to be like so many episodes into this person's review series, but the video is just so low quality. And that was supposed to go along with the fact that Pony Fanboy is supposed to be younger than the main characters. But I think mostly it just comes down to the fact that, like, the reason the video is so low quality is because, again, 2015 was a very different time. This was the second year of doing videos. So, yeah, this was definitely, like, it was a very different era. And I just thought it was funny. It's like, this is supposed to be the 54th video that Pony Fanboy has made, and yet it's still, like, this quality. It kind of reminds me of, Save State Gamer did that, where the very first video he did, it was like it was listed as like episode 503 or something like that, and obviously that was like one of the biggest jokes of that. But it's sort of a similar joke here, I guess. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say, but I guess we can talk about how this eventually kind of led and paved the way for Pony Fanboy Reviews and Pony Fanboy Reads a little bit later, because we did cover a lot of Pony Fanboy fan fiction, or we covered a lot of fan fiction and creepypasta on Pony Fanboy Reads, because there it felt more like it was more of a Let's Read series. Basically, it was not really supposed to be a review. It was supposed to be just blindly, or you know, blindly, quote unquote, reading fan fiction as Pony Fanboy and then making jokes and funny edits here and there.
But humans saw the magic within her and made her star pupil, right?
Oh god, I did like the little bit of every time it cuts back. There's like some other things that are carried out from earlier in the video, like the whole thing with the blanket. Again, that's another thing I got rid of a couple of months after I did this video, that we eventually got rid of that blanket. I don't know. Like, I feel like this kind of set up a whole thing of Pony Fanboy talking about fan fiction a lot, and especially MLP creepypastas, because the very first Pony Fanboy Reads I ever did was on a creepypasta that was definitely trying to ride the whole cupcakes bandwagon. It was Bad Apples, and it was basically Applejack killed some nameless pony.
All these scenarios so mean. Why can't the parents be like Rainbow Dash's family and be supportive?
Wow. That was kind of ahead of its time, because eventually when they showed Rainbow Dash's parents in the series for real, they actually were portrayed as being supportive, overly supportive, but you know, if you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. So I guess that's one thing this creepypasta actually kind of predicted. Wow. The actual video of this creepypasta, like the actual creepypasta reading, is still actually available on YouTube, and I actually do think it's a really well done video with the music in the background and the guy's narration. Even though earlier there was a bit of Pony Fanboy talking about the way he says youngins, I actually did like how he said it, so that's why I had Pony Fanboy just like youngins, youngins. I like the way he says it. I know it's kind of a weird one to start with, but yeah, this was the very first Pony Fanboy review, and a lot did carry over. Eventually, we brought Trollney back in the season 3 finale review, um, and oh wow, yeah,
Really poignant and beautiful.
here we go. What a dumb way to end the video. This dumb joke. Oh, and one thing that never really left Pony Fanboy reviews was the jump cuts, which kind of carried over into Chris T. Ian as well, and Blockbusters, obviously. But yeah, this is something I kind of waffle back and forth on with Pony Fanboy videos, is like whether or not to go in depth with the final thoughts, because he's Pony Fanboy. There's not really a whole lot to talk about, but yeah. And of course, end on a clapping joke. Ha 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 ha. And God, no scrolling credits. Kind of surprised by that. Wow. And yeah, wow. Still the same font. Still the same font we use. And then a bunch of fake made-up accounts. And let's again, Channel Zero, just as a shout out, obligatory shout out. And then set up for the next one, which was, oh yeah, the Critical Kid tribute video. Talked about Man of the Hands of Fate as Critical Kid. So overall thoughts on this video, it's very 2015. This was clearly the second year of me doing videos. I feel like I've definitely improved since then. I think Pony Fanboy works in live action or doing the character on screen for sketches. Like if I do it for like Media Wiz or Chris T. Ian, I think, you know, Pony Fanboy on screen definitely works. But I think for Pony Fanboy reviews, I think he definitely works better as a audio-based character. It's kind of like the Swig of Game reviews. But it was still pretty fun to rewatch this all these years later, because this is technically where Pony Fanboy took center stage for his own little video series. And ever since then, we got Pony Fanboy Reads, Pony Fanboy Reviews, and the Planet Goofball videos and the Megacorp videos. Yeah, this definitely spawned into a whole thing after all these years. Aside from a couple videos before this was the one that was really supposed to be like, oh, Pony Fanboy is now a main staple on the channel, so it's very interesting to look back on all this. It's fascinating. Well, anyways, that does it for this commentary video, and look forward to plenty more videos coming down the pipeline, guys. I'll see ya.